Miles, the shortstop. Your starting pitcher for Florida A&M tonight, the record of 3-0, number 22, right-hander Hunter Beats. Hunter Beats, right-hander, starting pitcher for the Rattlers. Assistant coaches for the Rattlers are Greg Richardson and Tom Alford. The head coach is Danny Chu. And now the starting lineups for your Brooklyn Wildcats. Leading things off the DH tonight, number 5, Luis Duel. Duel, DH. Batting second for the Cats in center field, number 34, Eric John. Center field. Batting third for the Wildcats in the right field, number 4, Highland Hall. Right field. Let's clean up here in left field, number 35, Horace Pena. Left field. Batting fifth for the Cats, first baseman number 31, Robert Moya. First base. Batting sixth behind the dish, catcher number 43, Jorge Placeres. The catcher. Batting seventh in the lineup for the Cats, shortstop number 25, Jeremy Garcia. The shortstop. Batting eighth on third base, number 13, Brian Perez. Third base. Rounding out the batting order for the Cats, second baseman number 2, Olsen. Second base. Your starting pitcher for the Wildcats tonight, number 31, right-hander number 18, Nolan Santos. Right-hander, starting pitcher for the Brooklyn. Assistant coaches for the Cats are Jose Carvalho, Joel Sanchez, and Antoine Brown. The head coach of PCU, Johnny Hernandez. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please rise. Gentlemen, remove your caps while veterans take cover as we honor this nation with the playing of our national anthem.
Well, live from Jackie Robinson Ballpark here in beautiful downtown Daytona Beach, Florida, it's time for Bethune-Cookman University Baseball on the Cat Eye Network. Hello and a very warm welcome. My name is Michael Torello. Happy to have your company for the second most important baseball series of this homestand. And arguably at this point, Bryce Wojnowski, with the records the way they are between Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman, the most important home series to end this 12-game homestand for the Wildcats.
And then, of course, Mike, there's always the fun wrinkle that who else stands in your way but the rival Florida A&M Rattlers. It's always a fun series out here, fun weekend when the Snakes come to town. Of course, stars are out for both sides tonight, and one of the best, if not the best, pitching matchup you'll see across the SWAC, and arguably one of the top in college baseball, especially at this level this year. And the SWAC strikeout leader in Nolan Santos, and of course the SWAC's ERA leader in Hunter Viets.
The Wildcats send Nolan Santos to the mound. He's 3-1 in 6 starts with 1 complete game. In 37 innings pitched, he's got a 3.16 ERA with 19 runs on 29 hits, 57 strikeouts and 16 walks, and of course he's chasing his own personal season strikeout Bethune-Cookman record that he set last year at 113. The Rattlers of Florida A&M will send this lineup to the plate. Ty Jackson bats center first and plays center field. Ty Hanchey bats second and plays catcher. The right fielder batting third is Jared Weber. Batting fourth, the first baseman, Sebastian Greco. The fifth batter is the designated hitter and ERA leader, Jean-Michel Bastardo, reigning SWAC Offensive Player of the Week. Batting sixth and playing second base, Joseph Pyrini. Batting seventh and playing left field, Will Brown. Batting eighth and playing third base, Adam Hader-Mota. And batting ninth, the shortstop, Jalen Niles. Their starting pitcher, when he takes them out of the second, will be the aforementioned Hunter Veets. Bethune-Cookman lines up in the field this way. It is Santos on the mound. Braceras back from injury to be his battery mate behind the plate. The infield left to right, Perez Garcia. Colton Olison returns to the starting lineup, and Robert Moya goes back to first from designated hitter. In the outfield, Boris Pena moves from first back to left. In center field, Garrett Chun replaces Malik Stevens. And in right, it's still Highland Hall. Todd Jackson stands in and hits it foul down the first base line. Chasing after it is Moya, and whoa, what a catch! In the bullpen, down the right field line, Colton Olison comes all the way from second to make the grab. One pitch, one away.
Welcome back, Colton Olison, guy who sat out the last 4 games with some back spasms. Just out of precautionary. Wasn't sure we were going to see him to start this weekend, but he's back doing what he does best out there, calling off everybody in a mile radius.
I mentioned he is a black hole defensively.
He's does what he does best out there at second base. He's one of the best in the conference.
Here's the catcher, Ty Hanchy. And Hanchy puts air under this one to the right-hand side. Moya calls off Olison, and it drops. And it's going to be a base hit.
A little bit of miscommunication there. The Wildcats have struggled with that a bit to start this season. Moya, we see calling for the ball. At least he's the voice we could hear from up here, but ultimately ends up trying to defer to his second baseman, and ball finds no man's land.
And maybe, you don't know, you might be better off leaving that for Olison, as Jared Weber stands in. Weber, the right fielder. And we talk a lot about the Wildcats being aggressive in counts early. 2 pitches, 2 swings for the Rattlers, that one in the dirt. And finally a pitch taken by Florida A&M, which allows me to tell you about Jared Weber. He's got a .302 batting average. He's scored 30 runs on 32 hits with a team-leading 7 homers and 26 RBIs. He bats with Hanchy on first and 1 man out. Santos delivers inside corner ball 2. We were talking pregame, Bryce, about the mental resiliency of the junior from Miami Beach. He just gets out there and doesn't let the last pitch bother him. Here's a 2-0. In there for a strike right down the middle, 2-1.
Yeah, Mike, you talk about Nolan Santos. Like you said, works pitch to pitch, works quickly, as does every pitcher on this BCU staff for the most part. Doesn't waste a lot of time shaking off a lot of pitches, gets up and throws and lets his stuff, particularly his fastball, do the work.
Runner goes, line drive to center field, and it's going to drop in front of Chun. Trying to go to third is Hanchy, and he'll slide in there without a throw. So it's a base hit for Weber, and the Rattlers have runners on the corners with 1 man out. Tough start for the Wildcats, although that's kind of been their calling card this season. Rough starts to games and then comebacks later in games.
Of course, you can afford to do that when you're playing a team in Mississippi Valley State that's struggled with some bullpen inconsistencies this season. But when you welcome in the teeth of the SWAC and FAMU and Alabama State a few weeks ago, you can't really afford to get down early.
You're not going to face guys with double-digit ERAs after you get rid of the starter. And, of course, the Wildcats have had a little bit of offensive issues early in games. Santos deals, chop foul at the plate. This is Sebastian Greco. Greco, a .307 hitter. 24 runs on 23 hits, 6 homers, 27 RBIs. And that is tied for a team lead with the man on deck, Jean-Michel Bastardo. Runners on the corners, 1 down. Rattlers threatening here, top of the first. Santos spins and throws back to first. We were talking earlier about the new Major League Baseball rules, limited pickoffs, pitch clock, bigger bases, and the fact that it is inevitable that they will eventually make their way to the NCAA. Here's the 0-1. Breaking ball outside, 1-1.
Of course, we've seen a handful of pitch clock violations early in the season. Kind of seems like it's settled down after the first couple weekends of play here. Haven't seen anybody get fired up about it as maybe you've seen in Major League Baseball. Just these college guys, they tend to be a little more adaptive to the rule changes.
Nolan's 1-1. Breaking ball missed upstairs, and it's 2-1, excuse me.
Of course, with this Wildcats pitching staff, and I think in the college ranks as a whole, guys tend to work very quickly. There's not a lot of that set routine, slow deliveries, so the pitch clock doesn't tend to have the same effect at this level.
Here's a 2-1. Fastball swing and a miss from Greco. And it's 2-2. As we get our nightly visit from the squirrel up here in the broadcast booth. It seems that at least once a game it climbs past the booth.
Every time it startles me just a little bit.
2-2. Strikeout will be big here to give the Wildcats 2 outs. Runner goes. And the ball is held by Brasaris. Weber takes his base, takes away the double play. And it's 3-2 the count. Runners on second and third.
High fastball from Santos, trying to get a commit, a swing there. Good strikeout pitch for him thus far this season.
He's got 57 strikeouts to this point, Santos. Looking for number 58 here. Here's the payoff. Chop foul will do it again. As the sounds of a spring evening in Daytona Beach. Cars going over the bridge. People enjoying their night on Main Street. Friday night. Got a lot of people out on the boardwalk.
Another beautiful night here at the Jack, if not another blustery one. Wind blowing out to left field, as it has been probably the last handful of games in a row now.
Once again, the 3-2. Breaking ball missed outside. And it's a walk and the bases are loaded. So just like Tuesday against South Florida, it's the top of the first and the opposition has them loaded up.
Saw the Wildcats escape that one with just one run allowed. We'll see. Again, like we talked about earlier this inning, Nolan Santos not really got to let the pressure get to him in situations like this. But the last thing you can do here if you're the Wildcats is put up a crooked number early.
Still only one out, and here's their best hitter, Jan-Mikael Bastardo. The reigning SWAC Player of the Week.
Taking on the SWAC's reigning Pitcher of the Week.
Fastball misses outside and low 1-0. Bastardo leads the team in batting average at .393. He's got 25 runs on a team-leading 33 hits, 6 homers, and tied for the lead in RBIs with 27. He's tied with the man standing on first, Sebastian Greco. The 0-1. Strike on the inside corner, 1-1. So behind the plate tonight is Damian Gatling, the umpire. Terrell Poole at first, Kedron Wright at third. And Gatling has a very slow and deliberate called strike, so you may hear us wait a little bit on some of these decisions. The 1-1, chopped foul outside of third. And you could hear Gatling call that ball foul from all the way up here.
You wouldn't miss it.
Every game we kind of try to keep an eye on the wind and see what it's doing. And today it is trending towards left field, sometimes blowing straight out to center.
We all know that can change in the matter of a couple innings, so check back and it may be different.
The 1-2, swing and a miss. Massive slider that ends in the opposite batter's box, and Bastardo goes down swinging.
Yeah, and when you've got a fastball like Nolan Santos does, when you go to the slider for the 1-2 count, that's the kind of swings you can get from guys. Completely fooled. Just like that, Nolan Santos in good position here with 2 outs.
Now with 2 down, here's the second baseman, Joseph Pirini. Lefty to lefty, Santos deals. Low ball one. Perini is a freshman batting .349. 20 runs on 29 hits, 2 homers, 17 RBIs. And has one of his team's only 3 triples on the season. Outside 2-0. And you can see that the right hand of George Braceras is pretty heavily taped up, as he is just coming back from a hand contusion sustained via a foul tip in the series against Mississippi Valley a week ago. Here's a 2-0. Fastball outside, 3-0.
Yeah, Mike, to see Braceras back in this game this quickly is impressive, to say the least, considering we thought his thumb may be broken at the time of the initial injury.
There's a strike, and it's 3-1. Although we may see the Rattlers more inclined to steal bases on Braceras if his throwing hand is indeed not 100%. But I think sans that, here's the 3-1. Chop foul, 3-2. An injury to the offhand of a catcher is not the biggest deal in the world, because if you injured your wrist on your glove hand and that's taking repeated impacts from fastballs over and over again, yeah, you're probably not going to want to rush him back. But it is good to see Braceras in there. And also, it'll be interesting to see how George does with the bat.
No doubt. We'll see if he plays the full game tonight, Irvin Escobar.
Payoff pitch. Fouled away. We'll do it again. Talk about tough start for Nolan Santos. He's already thrown 18 pitches in this first inning. The Rattlers got the bases loaded and 2 down. 3-2, the count to Perini. Santos winds and fires, runners go. Upstairs, ball 4, and FAMU is on the board as Hanchy walks in from third.
Santos, unfortunately, there has been trying to hit the corners to start this game, trying to really nibble on the outside edge, and it's kind of gotten the best of him. Has the strike zone from the home plate official. That one was close, but ultimately the right call, and walks in a run.
And here's the left fielder, Will Brown, a sophomore batting .313. 21 runs on 21 hits as he takes a strike inside. 1 homer, 13 RBIs for Brown. As the bases continue to be loaded, 1 in already via the walk. And the 0-1 in there for a strike going 2. Oh-2 from Santos. Breaking ball, inside corner, got him looking, strike 3. So 1 run on 2 hits and the bases left loaded. And after a half inning of play, it's the Rattlers 1, the Wildcats coming to bat. You're listening to Bethune-Cookman Wildcats baseball on the Cat Eye Network. Nike is the official outfitter of the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Gear up on the newest BCU Nike gear at nike.com/Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. To the bottom of the first we go here at Jackie Robinson Ballpark. The Wildcats trail 1-0, and now the Wildcats will come to bat facing the preseason SWAC Pitcher of the Year, Hunter Viets. Viets, a right-hander. And the first man to him is Luis Tuero. And he takes a strike on the outside corner, 0-1. Tuero has been playing second for the past week or so with the injury to Colton Olison, but he's back at his normal designated hitter spot today. And he takes a strike outside corner, 0-2. Viets, breaking ball in the dirt, 1-2. Tuero, a .357 hitter, 20 runs on 35 hits, no homers, 16 RBIs. Middle infield for the Rattlers playing well back. Heels on the grass. And Viets winds and fires. Breaking ball misses upstairs, and it's 2-2.
Of course, Viets has that very unique look into home plate, kind of wiggles his throwing hand as he looks in for the sign, and really wastes no time putting his hand in the glove and throwing it.
Tuero, ground to the shortstop, diving stop by Niels, throws to first, in time, what a play.
Tough luck there for Luis Tuero. Nicely hit ball into the infield, but couldn't quite sneak past or through the hole in the middle, and one away.
Wildcats have been undone by some spectacular defensive play on Tuesday when they fell to USF. Not saying they would have won the game if those two great defensive plays would have happened, but it probably would have been a lot closer as two web gems from the Bulls took away probably 4 Wildcat runs. Here's another play for Niels. This one a little bit simpler, and 2 straight batters ground out 6-3, and there's quickly 2 away.
So we heard before this game, Mike, that Hunter Viets, who's been dealing with some elbow issues over the last few weeks or so, will be on a pitch count. So we were talking before the game started to see if the Wildcats may alter what has previously been a very aggressive approach at the plate. Well, considering we're at 2 outs on 6 pitches for Viets and swinging early again, it doesn't seem that that approach has changed.
Here's Highland Hall. Hall at .354. First pitch is a strike. 19 runs on 29 hits, 1 homer, 14 RBIs. Viets quickly into the windup, misses downstairs, 1-1. Not going to be much time to pontificate with Viets on the mound. He works very fast. A transfer from Auburn Montgomery. Hall lays off the 1-1. It doesn't matter. It's 1-2. Last year had an 8-4 record with a .298 ERA, did Viets. And he's 1 strike away from getting out of the inning, which he doesn't find the outside corner there, 2-2.
His delivery really is a fun one to watch. It's intriguing to me watching him get his hand from down by his side to in the glove and delivering to home plate just like that.
Hall watches ball 3, and the count is full. Viets originally from Pensacola, Florida, so up in the northwest Florida area. The 3-2 chop foul by Hall, and the count will hold. We mentioned that it might be important for the Wildcats today to get Viets off the mound, considering he has a pitch count. We don't know what that count is. It could be 50, it could be 70. So, grounder, left side. That's a base hit from Hall. This time it gets by Nielsen onto the outfield grass, and with 2 outs, the Wildcats have their first base runner of the game.
And at bats like that are much likely to get you quicker to that FAMU bullpen than some of the ones we saw to start this inning. Highland Hall works the full count and gets a nice piece of hit and single through the shortstop hole, and we'll keep going here with 2 outs.
Now here's Boris Pena, somebody who wants to rebound from a tough week at the plate against Mississippi Valley and USF. First pitch to him. In the dirt, 1-0. Pena, .269, his average is slipped to. 17 runs on 21 hits, 3 homers, 19 RBIs. He leads the team with 3 home runs. And this one is lined down the left field line, foul. About 2 feet to the right, and that probably would have been a run-scoring double.
You know, Boris Pena's a guy who's been worked hard early this season. Hasn't started every game, but we've seen him bounce around from DH to first base to left field. It's a credit to how good his bat can be for this Wildcats team, and
He
how
may
good
get some
we've
look,
seen it.
He may get some looks at catcher as well.
Of course, we saw him there last year a bit, but it'll be interesting to see with George Braceras back if we do see him behind the plate at some point.
23 appearances for Pena this season on 20 starts, and that ball gets by the catcher and to the backstop. It's a wild pitch that allows Highland Hall to go to second.
Small ball has been an aid for the Wildcats early this season, especially getting on the board early in these games. So when you get some help like that, see if the Wildcats can push one across here in the first.
The catcher is Ty Hanchy, a transfer from Norfolk State, originally from Virginia Beach. The count 2-1 on Pena. Veets winds and fires. Pena right back up the middle. There's a base hit. Rounding third and coming home is Hall. Here's the throw to the plate. It is not in time. It's cut off. The Wildcats have tied the game on back-to-back base hits by Hall and Pena, and it's a 1-1 ball game.
Well, we've said it a lot, Mike. I just got done saying it. The Wildcats, if you give them a chance on the base pass, if you help them out, they will make you hurt for it. So we saw the wild pitch. Highland Hall, almost no doubt he does not score if he's stuck at first after that previous at-bat, but he gets moved down to second courtesy of the wild pitch, and just like that, it's a tie ball game.
And now here is Robert Moya, who I've taken to calling Triple A because he delivers the power like a battery.
It's a little cheesy, Mike.
There's, you know.
It's a little cheesy. We'll have to run it by him, see what Moya thinks.
It's a long season. I gotta have a little fun up here. But he did crush two of the longest balls you will see hit out of here against Mississippi Valley State last weekend. One hit off the top of the batting cages and left, and the other one went over the batting cages but was just foul. He's quickly behind 0-2. And Veets deals, swung on, chopped, fair ball at the plate. Veets charges and fires, and that will be that. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 left. We go to the second inning of play. It's Rattlers 1, Wildcats 1, right here on the Cat-Eye Network.
Number 13, third baseman, Adam Hermata.
Adam Hermata leads off for the Rattlers in the second in a 1-1 game, and he hammers the first pitch he sees out to center field and deep. Going back is Chun on the track. He makes the catch at the wall.
Eric Chun made that one look easy. Kind of just coasted his way over, made the grab, 1 away.
I know from personal experience from playing plenty of center field in my youth, that is not an easy play. Over the shoulder, headed full speed towards the wall, and as you said, Chun makes it look simple, and here's the 9-hole hitter Jalen Niles. First pitch from Santos to Niles, and it's upstairs and in. 1-0. Niles, a .210 hitter, lowest batting average of this starting roster for Florida A&M. 10 runs on 13 hits, no homers, 6 RBIs. He's only started 18 games. Wildcats middle infield playing back. The 2-0 catches the inside corner, 2-1. Niles, a redshirt sophomore from Tampa. And he grounds this one to third and through. Into left field for a base hit, and the Rattlers, just like they did in the previous inning, have a runner on with 1 out.
Unlike most teams we've seen come into the Jack to start this season, the Rattlers are seeing Nolan Santos pretty well right now. Another nicely hit ball through the infield hole, and we'll see what happens here if Nolan can settle things down and get into a rhythm here.
Third base hit for FAMU, and here's the top of the order, Ty Jackson. Flied out to a tremendous running grab in foul territory from Colton Olison first time up. Runner goes, Braceras throws down to second. The throw is not in time.
That was impressive effort by Colton Olison even to try to push that tag attempt across, kind of behind his back. Nearly got him, closer than I thought it would be based on the throw, but it's also interesting to see Braceras up and throwing that hand, but close play.
Not a bad throw from Braceras, a little bit to the right. So Olison had to stretch across his body to make the play. The 0-1 to Jackson with now a runner on second. Breaking ball, strike 2, crossed him up with the changeup. And it's 0-2. Jackson, a junior from Jacksonville. And Santos deals. Breaking ball in the dirt. Jackson does not go. FAMU tonight wearing all black, trimmed in orange. Orange numbers, green trim, Rattlers in white across the front, trimmed in orange. Wildcats in their Santos gear, the all-white black cap that they wear whenever Santos pitches. And that one's hit right back up the middle. There's a base hit. Rounding third is Niels. He'll score. And the Rattlers, once again on 2 straight hits, have taken the lead. It's 2-1.
Mike, when me and you were talking post-game, I just made the comment that when there's an ace-on-ace matchup, baseball has a funny way of games working out this way. And it's early yet. It's only 2-1, but both guys have had some struggles, and we've got 3 runs on the board already, and we're in the second inning. We'll see what happens.
Unlike Tuesday against South Florida, we had 2 runs combined in the first 6. Breaking ball catches the outside corner for a strike against Ty Hanchy. Hanchy singled and scored his first time up, was driven in by Weber. And the 0-1. Fastball outside corner, strike 2. And for the second straight time, a FAMU batter faces an 0-2 count. Hanchy, as I mentioned, from Virginia Beach, the catcher, transferred from Norfolk State. But he has been at FAMU for the last 2 seasons. This is his 3rd year with the Rattlers. Santos delivers. Outside 1-2. In 2021, which was the Rattlers' last year in the MEAC, he was named first team All-MEAC and an HBCU Baseball Elite. First team. Grounded to first. Stepping on the bag is Moya, and there's 2 away. Jackson advances to second. And there's 2 away, and unfortunately, this is where the Rattlers did their damage in the first inning. They got 2 outs and then 2 walks. Drove in the run. Time is called as Jared Weber goes to talk to his head coach. That head coach being Jamie Shoup, the former Florida State University assistant for 21 years, and he's now in his 10th year at the head coach of Florida A&M. Spent a lot of time in Tallahassee.
Not much of a drive over his new spot at FAMU, though.
Breaking ball swing and a miss. First pitch from Weber. Weber singled in Hanchy in the first and was stranded on third after stealing second. And he's got Jackson on second with 2 away. Santos deals. Breaking ball, yes he did. Strike 2.
And Santos really finding some success on those off-speed pitches, complementing his fastball tonight.
He's kind of pitching backwards this at-bat. Breaking ball, breaking ball. Let's see if he goes with the fastball here with an 0-2 count. Lines and fires. In the dirt. Runner going to third, no play. So a steal by Jackson means there's a runner 90 feet away with 2 down. And the count 1-2 on Weber. Weber has the most at-bats of anybody on this team with 106. 24 starts in 25 games. The only person who started more is Jackson, who's on third, who started all 25. They're not holding Jackson on at third. Here's the pitch. Fouled straight up and off the top of the press box.
You know, even there we saw Nolan Santos before that last pitch kind of fake a throw over. Again, we said nobody's holding the runner on at third, but these Wildcats pitchers have shown a clear importance on the runner on base, and I think it's seen some negative to the delivery to the plate as these guys have focused on the runner.
1-2. Ground ball to third base, and it's fielded at short by Garcia, but the throw across his body is late to first, and Jackson scores, and it's 3-1 FAMU.
Nice effort by Brian Perez to attempt to make the dive. A nice play by Garcia to get down on that ball, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really help anything as the runner still gets to first and the runner comes across.
FAMU leads 2-1, and 3-1, and already 46 pitches for Nolan Santos, so this may be a quick night for him, as diving back to first is Weber. This is Sebastian Greco walked and was stranded on second in the first. Santos, first pitch, strike on the outside corner. He's working the fastball in there. It's just that the Rattlers are seeing it pretty well.
We haven't seen the same swing and miss from FAMU to Santos as we have from some of these other squads early in the season.
Chop, foul, right at the plate. And the count 0-2. This is the third batter in the inning that Santos has had an 0-2 count against, and he does not have a strikeout.
He's absolutely been struggling to find that strikeout pitch, whether he starts to nibble on the outside corners or some balls that are too high or in the dirt and overall just something you wouldn't swing at. He's had success freezing guys with the off speed, whether that be the slider or the changeup, but the fastball hasn't been inducing those same swings that we're used to seeing.
0-2, 2 outs. Santos deals outside 1-2.
Also a credit to FAMU for having the discipline to lay off. You know, that pitch is certainly one that you could entertain, but we see Greco lay that one off, and that bat continues. Maybe
earlier in the year, there were teams that would go for a pitch like that. That one in the dirt, 2-2, and once again, Santos trying to just dance around the zone, not really going after hitters with 2 strikes. Two down, bounce to the plate. Runner going to second. Braceras' throw is off the glove of Garcia and into center field. Weber into second with a stolen base, and he'll stay there.
6th stolen base of the year for Weber. You know, Mike, you mentioned that we may see FAMU try to challenge the hand of Braceras behind the plate. And another one that wasn't really a bad throw. It made its way to second base. Pretty good pace on the ball. But definitely seeing the Rattlers take advantage.
That was only the 20th stolen base of the season combined for the Rattlers. They're not a team that steals a lot. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Third strikeout of the game for Santos gets him out of the inning as he sits down Greco. But 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 left. And we go to the bottom of the second inning. It's 3-1 Rattlers right here on the Cat Eye Network. Bottom of the second on tap here from Jackie Robinson Ballpark. Make sure you are representing Bethune-Cookman University Athletics to the fullest. Buy the latest BCU gear online at the Bethune-Cookman online store. Go to bcuathletics.com and click on shop to find the newest BCU clothing and apparel. That's bcuathletics.com and click on shop. Here's George Braceras with the taped right wrist. And he takes a pitch low and away for ball 1. We'll see how he handles himself in the batter's box today.
Definitely the most interesting part of his early return.
That one, a fastball upstairs. Vietz has some velocity on the fastball. If I were to guess, probably 93, 92.
Again, just watch how quickly he gets that ball to the plate.
Grounded up the middle. Stopped by Niels. Fires across his body in time, and Niels has been busy. That's his 3rd put out of the game. And he also had one that he almost got in the base hit by Hall last inning.
Of course, Vietz doesn't have a strikeout yet. He's been inducing some weak contact, though, and that's probably why we've seen such good success for him with the 180 ERA.
Here's Jeremy Garcia. Garcia, 301 hitter. 14 runs on 22 hits, 1 homer, 12 RBIs. And the pitch outside. And unlike Santos, who's really going after hitters early in the count, then dancing around, Vietz is trying to hit the corners early and then serving them up late, as that one misses high, and it's 2-0. Ball low, 3-0. And this is the start of the final 3-game series of what is a 12-game homestand for the Wildcats. 4-pitch walk delivered by Garcia, and he takes his base. First walk of the game issued by Hunter Vietz. And now here's Brian Perez. Perez, a 111 hitter, although this is only his 8th appearance of the season. 4 runs on 3 hits, no homers, 4 RBIs. And the ball gets away. And a spin and throw back to first. Garcia going to second. He rounds second as the ball gets caught up in the bullpen, and he's going to go all the way to third.
Well, Mike, everything Hunter Vietz does, he does quickly, and I think he caught the first baseman off guard with just how quick that turn was. I mean, it was a split second, look over, throw it over. It wasn't a bad throw, but I really think that we saw the first baseman, Greco, just caught off guard by the throw over.
And it ended up lodging underneath the bench that is out there in the Rattlers bullpen. So Greco couldn't go field it, allowed Garcia to go all the way to third. Strike to Perez, count 0-1. And now the Wildcats are set up with a runner on third and only one out.
Like we said, Mike, can't do the Wildcats any favors on the bases. They will take advantage.
Swing and a miss at a breaking ball, 0-2. I think that's the first time we've seen Veets go off speed this game. He's really been working the fastball. This time, off speed again, and he gets Perez to wave at it and then go sit down. First strikeout of the game for Veets.
That was a really nice pitch by Veets right there. Fooled Perez. Wasn't expecting another off speed after we've seen Veets go to the fastball so often. Just outside the zone, so not an easy pitch to hit. Down goes Perez swinging.
Veets, strikeout number 39 on the season for him. As Colton Olesen lays off one. Olesen back in the starting lineup for the first time in 8 days. 10 runs on 20 hits, no homers, 9 RBIs. Olesen takes low, 2-0. Not a guy you really love for his offense. He's mostly in there for his defense at second base.
Then, of course, you look up, and he's hitting .323.
Swing and a miss at an off-speed pitch, 2-1. And now that Veets is mixing it up, the Wildcat hitters are starting to swing at air. Fouled away. And it's 2-2. Veets up to 30 pitches. So Santos almost 20 more than him through 2 innings. I don't think we might not see Nolan on the hill for very long if he continues with that economy. This one chopped toward first. Greco going to take it himself, and that'll do it. No runs, no hits, 1 left, and we head to the 3rd inning. 2-1 Rattlers right here on the Cat Eye Network. To the top of the 3rd we go. 3-1 Rattlers. Here's Yanmikel Bastardo. And the first pitch in there for a strike at the knees, 0-1. Bastardo struck out his first time up after I gassed him up as having the highest batting average on this team, rating SWAC Player of the Week, and he swings and misses at a fastball, low, 0-2.
Well, Mike, here we go. We see another 0-2 count from Nolan Santos, who's working even quicker than normal right now, trying to get to the plate. See how the approach looks like.
And he gets a chopper right back to him. Underhands it. He flips to Moya, and there's one away.
That ball caught the bottom of the zone. But it's certainly a better look for Santos to challenge the guy at the plate and force a swing rather than try to get some swing and misses. You know, you may sacrifice some in the strikeout numbers, but it'll look better on the scoreboard.
I mean, I know that the trend in baseball over the last 10 or 15 years has been all the advanced analytics and everything, as this ball is popped high in the air, and that'll make the bleachers. First pitch to Joseph Parini. And the count 0-1, but Parini grounds it foul 0-2. And the end of my point is, an out is an out. Doesn't matter if it's a strikeout or a soft ground out or a fly out. It's not a guy on base, and you're closer to getting back in the dugout.
Plenty of guys make careers off of just getting outs. Tend to see that. I mean, Daniel Gaviria is a guy on this team who's done just that. Strikeout numbers aren't very high, but for the first few weekends of the season was just stellar. Getting a lot of quick ground outs, working a complete game. It works.
We'll see Gaviria on Sunday. Fastball just misses upstairs, 1-2. And then tomorrow, instead of Luis Lipthrat, we're going to see Marcos Gamboa. As Lipthrat gets a week off from the mound. Breaking ball, strike 3 called. And down goes Parini. Second strikeout looking of the day for Santos. He's up to 4.
The start of this inning has been best case scenario if you're Santos and the Wildcats. We've seen a clear attempt by Santos. He's going after batters. When he has them down in the count, he's going after them. We didn't see that early. It got the best of him.
Now with 2 down, here's Will Brown. He was the second strikeout victim for Santos this game, and he chops this one foul 0-1. He struck out looking to end the first with the bases loaded, I may add. Brown batting .313 with 21 hits and 21 runs scored, and he hits this one to third. Fielding is Perez. Throwing across the diamond in time. 1-2-3 go the Rattlers. A nice efficient inning from Santos. And we go to the bottom of the third with the Wildcats still down by 2 right here on the Cat Eye Network.
The designated hitter, number 5, Luis Tuero.
Back to the top of the order for the Wildcats to begin the third. FAMU leads 3-1. Hunter Viets back out there working, and he throws a slider that catches the outside part of the plate, 0-1. This one hit on a frozen rope to right center field. That's going to get down and get to the wall. Cut off by Jackson. He fires in, but not before Tuero is standing on second with a leadoff double.
Well, the trajectory of this game has shifted quite a bit in the last inning. If you're the Wildcats here, Mike, we talked about it over the break. If you can put up a couple of runs here and really get back into this one on the scoreboard, you could be in business after the way that Nolan Santos threw the ball last inning. That's a textbook start to this one from Tuero and the Wildcats.
Nice job by Tuero. That's how you combat a speedy pitcher. You choke up, you shorten your swing, just chop one into the alley and center. Here's Garrett Chun. Chun grounded out to the shortstop his first time up, as did Tuero, by the way. Chun, first pitch looking outside, ball one. Garrett has been an everyday starter for this team, but he's moved around the outfield quite a bit, playing center and left. And that one catches the corner of the zone, 1-1. Sean, a junior from Jacksonville, played at Clay High School for the Blue Devils. This time he watches it in on the hands, 2-1. As the sun begins to sink into the western horizon, the floodlights are on here in Daytona Beach. Here's the 2-1. Lined is a base hit past the diving glove of Perini. Tuero holds it third. It's a base hit for Chun, and the Wildcats are in business. Runners on the corners with nobody out.
Just nice to see the confidence at the plate for the Wildcats to start this inning. We've seen it kind of off and on this season, but it's generally been a big inning that's been the difference for BCU in a lot of these recent wins. Interesting to see maybe if Viets is kind of starting to see some of those limitations from that elbow tweak.
You told me before the game you were surprised to see him start, where, as you know, all week I've been looking forward to this matchup, Santos versus Viets, and it's mostly lived up to the hype so far, especially with Santos kind of finding a rhythm a little bit last inning.
Yeah, you know, talking to Coach Hernandez, going back and forth with the FAMU staff, elbow is, of course, always a scary one. But it seemed bleak for Viets to get the start, just out of probably an abundance of caution at this point. We thought we may see him out of relief initially, but they decided to give him the nod after some successful bullpen sessions to end the week.
If there's ever a game to rest your star player, and this is not it, rivalry game, top two teams in the conference, a Friday night that could be very crucial to the conference standings, even coming down to the end of the season. Ball bounced to the plate. Nice job by Hanchy to corral it. Timeout called. Highland Hall, the batter, and the count's 0-1. Hall singled his first time up and eventually scored on the base hit by Boris Pena. For the Wildcats' only run, he's got runners on the corners, nobody out. Viets steals. Bounce to the plate again. The ball gets away. Going to second is Chun on the pass ball. He'll be there without a throw.
Definitely not the same level of crisp pitching from Viets this inning.
You can tell he's a little bit rattled.
Guy who early in this one talked about how he was really hitting the corners and really finding his spots. Ball's begin to drift more and more out of the zone.
Still just in the third inning here. Hall, big cut and miss on a 2-0. That one broke away from him.
Interestingly enough, Viets is no longer shaking his pitching hand before. He has the ball in his hand now before he delivers to the plate. I don't know if that's a change working with runners on base or what.
Viets. Hall chopped that one into the umpire, and you can tell that Damian Gatling is a little gimpy after that one.
Made a quick run out to first base, walk it off. Still shaking it off a little bit.
Yeah. I'm a soccer referee, and I've thought about doing baseball, and a couple of times, and every time I see something like that, I'm like,
maybe it's for the best.
Maybe it's for the best. So I don't get
catch any strays.
Dinged by fastballs. Count 2-2 on Hall. Swinging and missing a foul ball. What does Viets dial up here? It's in the dirt, 3-2. Viets fleeting with disaster because you know as well as I do that a ball at the backstop with a runner on third basically means a run no matter what you do, because the backstop is so far away here at the Jack.
Highland Hall staying patient. Beats is giving him the chance to do that.
Payoff. Fouled away, will do it again. And you could tell Hall was not happy at himself with that, because that one was out of the zone low.
Yeah, certainly expanding the strike zone with the full count. But low and inside, probably for the best that one's fouled off.
Hall chops one to third. Throwing to first in time is Hader Mota. Nice scoop by Greco at first, but 2-hour scores, and it is a 3-2 ball game.
Similar pitch that we saw in the previous pitch to Hall. Another one kind of in on the hands. Did the best he could to even chop it over to third base.
You know what? It's an RBI, and if you're Highland Hall, you'll probably take that.
The Wildcats certainly will.
Wildcats down now, down by just one. And here's Boris Pena, who singled in Highland Hall in the first. So he's got an RBI already tonight. Strike outside corner, 0-1. Pena, the senior from Hialeah. That one misses the zone, 1-1. Started it for the Wildcats as a freshman back in 2020, but then transferred to Wallace Community College for the season the Wildcats took off the diamond in 2021 and then came back. The 1-1, Pena watches it go to the opposite batter's box, 2-1. The Rattlers playing very far in to try and prevent the run scoring on a ground ball. But the middle of the field, Bryce, is wide open. Pena swings and misses at a ball in the opposite batter's box, 2-2.
That was a swing right there, Mike. Looked like something just wanted to punch it just right over the head of the infielders.
If you can float one into shallow center, you've got yourself potentially a double. That one fouled away, and it's 2-2 again. Pena batting .269. 19 RBIs, looking for number 20 and the one that would tie the game. Veets deals. Pena up the middle, base hit. What did I say? They left the middle wide open, and Boris Pena has his second RBI of the night. Chun scores, and it's 3-3.
It's back-to-back at-bats that Boris Pena has really done a great job to find that hole in the infield and just do what you have to do to push it through. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy with the swing. Last time we saw him punch it out into left field, this time up into center. It's been a driving force for the BCU offense tonight.
Now here's Robert Moya, grounded out softly back to the pitcher his first time up, right after I told you all about his great power. Broadcaster's jinx is real, folks. This time he grounds it down the right field line and into right field. Going to second is Pena. He'll get there. And the Wildcats once again have runners on the corners with one out.
Mike, you won't see a ground ball hit much harder than that one. Skipped off the turf and was nearly rolled out into the right field wall in a hurry. Smoked that ball.
And I can tell you from experience, playing on turf like this, it acts like glass or ice sometimes. It's like skipping a hockey puck. It just picks up so much speed because there's no natural resistance of the dirt or grass that would be long to slow it down. It's almost like playing on a shag carpet almost.
Yeah. Ball
bounced to the plate. First pitch to George Braceras. Braceras grounded out to the shortstop first time up. So hard hit balls like that, there's not much to stop it from getting through the infield if you place it right, and the Wildcats, 2 batters in a row, have done just that.
Surprised we haven't seen any activity in the FAMU bullpen yet. Beats up to 56 pitches.
Low 2-0. You wonder what the pitch limit is on Veets. We know there is one. And if it's somewhere in the 60s, they probably should have somebody up and throwing by now. unless they trust Feets can get out of the inning. Outside 3-0.
You know, Mike, we don't have a radar gun here, so we can't tell what numbers Viets is hitting. But, you know, from watching baseball a fair amount over my life, that you can still get a lot of velocity when you're dealing with some physical limitations, but we start to see that control slip away.
Like that. 4-pitch walk loads the bases.
We see the hit of the ball in the glove still sounds loud enough, still hitting some numbers on the gun, I'm sure, is Viets, but his misses have gotten worse, either in on the plate or further off the plate. Credit to the Wildcats for staying patient and taking advantage.
Here we go. Zach Morea has trotted out to the right field bullpen, and it's going to begin to warm up, and I think Hanchy called time to maybe give the bullpen a bit of time to warm up, and coach sending a clear message to his pitcher saying, if you don't clean this up, you're going to be gone.
Kind of an odd decision to wait this long in such a critical opening game of this series, especially with the way Santos threw the ball last inning. He comes out looking like that Nolan Santos again. Wildcats are in business.
Ball low, missed with a changeup, and it's 1-0. Bases loaded. 1 out. 2 runs already in for the Wildcats in the inning to tie the game at 3, and the batter is Jeremy Garcia. The 1-0. Swing and a foul tip into the glove. 1-1. Garcia walked his first time up and then reached third on the error, which was Viets trying to pick him off at first that went all the way into the bullpen. Now the 1-1. Off the end of the bat, foul out of play. And it's 1-2. The Wildcats have been very feast or famine this season with 2 outs. Either they get a big rally, score a couple of runs, or just go quietly into the night. The 1-2. Chopped, fair ball at first base. Hanchy going to take it himself, and the runner is safe at home. Here comes Braceras Omoya to the plate. He scores. I looked down to read my stat sheet, and I didn't see what happened.
So, I'm not sure the initial runner was called safe. It looked to me that the ball was taken to home plate for the force out, thrown over to first. The wide throw forced Greco off of the base at first, and it ended up hitting off his glove, so the Wildcats took advantage.
So
they do score the 1 run because Moya comes across on the error on the throw.
So Pena is out at home. Moya scores from second on the error throw to first. Garcia is safe on the error. And so now Brian Perez is the batter's box. Runners on the corners, 2 down. We'll run through that through you one more time. Hanchy stepped on the bag to retire Pena, threw to first to try and get the double play, but he overthrew it, which allowed Garcia to be safe at first and Moya to come around to score. Ball in the outside batter's box, 2-1 on Perez. Now, Braceras is at third. Garcia is at first. Perez, the batter, with 2 down. And it's foul away, 2-2. So the reason for my incredulity was I looked down to mark Pena out at home, thinking the play was going to be over. And
it was not over.
I look up, and the home plate umpire is making the safe sign. And I didn't see Moya come around to score, so I thought Pena was safe. Runner going to second. That'll be a stolen base for Garcia. And now second and third with 2 down. Full count to Brian Perez. Perez just 4 RBIs on the year. Again, this is only his 9th game. Battling injury in the early part of the season. And he swings and misses, and that ends the inning. 3 runs, 3 hits, an error, and 2 left. And we go to the 4th inning. The Wildcats have the lead. It's 4-3. Adam Hermota leads off the fourth for the Rattlers. They now find themselves behind for the first time in the game as the Wildcats played at 3. In the bottom of the third to take the lead. Santos back in, and he gets a sword swinging on the first pitch. Fastball outside 0-1. Or excuse me, 0-1. This time it's hit sharply into the Budweiser bullpen. Foul. I think that's just a result of Hermota not catching up to the fastball, and he can't catch up to it there. It's in the dirt. Braceras throws to first to complete the strikeout.
Well, it's almost been a tale of 2 games to start this one. We saw FAMU look great defensively, and the Wildcats struggle at the plate, and it's all kind of flipped. Santos looking more like Nolan Santos with every pitch. The Wildcats push the run across to take the lead.
Now with one away, here's Jalen Niels. And that pitch upstairs and in skips to the backstop. 1-0. Niels singled, stole second, and scored on the RBI single by Jackson. His first time up. And he fouls that one right into the catcher's mask of Braceras. Told you I didn't want to be a home plate umpire. I really wouldn't want to be a catcher. It does not sound like a fun job.
Yeah, for Braceras to voluntarily sign up after nearly breaking a finger to get right back in a couple weeks is psychopath behavior.
Breaking ball, strike 2. Nice. I think Santos has the fastball pretty much locked in every time he throws. Here's the 1-2. Strike 3, breaking ball caught the inside corner. That one was a beauty.
Santos more and more is finding his spots, but again, we see he's just challenging guys more pitches set up in on the zone instead of set up out of the zone. He's less going for the big swing and a miss, more so forcing FAMU to be aggressive and to make a good swing on the ball, and they haven't been able to do that.
To finish my point about Santos, here's the first pitch to Jackson. He swings and hits this one hard to second. Olesen fires, long throw, gets him. I don't have time to make my point because 1, 2, 3 go the Rattlers. We'll talk about it when we come back. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Wildcats have a 4-3 lead right here on the Cat Eye Network. Stay up to date with everything Bethune-Cookman Athletics by checking out the Wildcats on social media. Give BCU Athletics a like on Facebook and follow the Wildcats on Twitter and Instagram at BCU_athletics. For the latest on BCU baseball, follow at BCU Diamondcats on Twitter and BCU Baseball on Instagram. Wildcats come to bat in the bottom of the fourth with a 4-3 lead. They lead off with Colton Olesen, who grounded to first his first time up in the second. The Wildcats have sent 17 batters to the plate as he grounds it right back to Vietz, does Olesen. He's grounded out twice on the infield today. And here comes Tuero. The Wildcats have now sent 18 batters to the plate. They have only failed to put the ball in play 4 times.
you know, Mike, eventually that all has a way of coming back to even itself out. We saw last season, or last inning rather. Interesting approach by Olesen to go after the first pitch when we saw the patience of the Wildcats leading to success last inning.
Veets ball in the dirt, first pitch to Tuero, grounded out to the shortstop his first time up, and then in the third, doubled and scored to start the 3-run third inning for the Wildcats.
Interestingly, the FAMU bullpen activity is all ceased. It's quiet over there.
Veets strike right down the pipe, 2-1. So the Rattler coaching staff trusts Veets, as that one is low, 3-1, to continue, even as his pitch count goes up to 70.
Now this being the third time through the order, we'll see.
Chopped, fair ball right at home. Long run for Hanchy. He throws in time to first, and there are 2 away. Little swinging bunt there by Tuero, and it's 2 outs. Here's Garrett Chun. And this is back to doing what Veets does best, inducing that soft contact, and with how quickly the Wildcats swing in counts, lead to some quick innings. Swinging at the first pitch is Garrett Chun. Grounded to short in the first. Singled in Tuero in the third, and eventually came around to score himself on the Highland Hall sacrifice ground out.
Veets come out looking strong to start this half inning.
The 1-1 way outside, 2-1.
We talked between innings. We figured if the first batter got on base, we may see Veets pulled, but he's quickly worked himself back into this game. Will almost certainly come out for the next inning if everything continues as planned here.
This one chopped to second. Parini throws to first in time, and Chun is retired. 1, 2, 3 go the Cats, and we head to the 5th inning. Wildcats up 4-3. This is the Cat Eye Network. Top of the 5th we go. Ty Hanchy, the catcher, leads off. Singled and scored in the first, and grounded out to first in the second. Swings and misses at the first pitch, 0-1. And his single was one of the oddest singles you will ever see. That was the high pop behind first base. Swings and misses at exactly the same pitch, 0-2. Where both Olesen and Moya went over there. Moya called off Olesen, then didn't make the catch. And that started the whole first inning rally for the Rattlers, where they eventually played it a run. Hit off the end of the bat, foul third base side. Count holds 0-2.
Yeah, nothing's going to aggravate a head coach more than miscommunication.
And it was just after Olesen had made that tremendous catch in foul territory, and you think something soft like that, that's his ball. But Moya called him off and then thought, well, no, Olesen does catch these. And and didn't put his
Something's
glove
not
up.
right. Olsen usually catches these.
Here's the 1-2. Breaking ball, just missed the zone, 2-2. We don't have a great angle where we are to see balls and strikes. Here's the 2-2. Swung on and a swinging bunt. Braceras fires into the bullpen down the right field line. Digging for third is Hatchley. Here comes the throw. The slide takes out Perez and the ball goes all the way to the wall, but Hanchi will stay at third.
I think Perez's sacrifice there of getting slide tackled by Hanchi probably saved the run, just because I think Hanchi was a little caught off guard by the whole thing, a little banged up from taking out Perez like that, so he's forced to stay at third. Overall, just a very rushed play from the Wildcats defense. You know, Braceras could have settled, taken his time, thrown over. It would have probably been a close play either way, but same could be said for the throw back into the infield. Tough break for the Wildcats.
So now the tying run at third. Here's Jared Weber, who has 2 base hits already. Whew, that one upstairs and in and causes Weber to back off. Singled in the first, stole second, was stranded on third. Singled in the second, stole second, and was stranded there. Here's Santos' 1-0. Breaking ball, strike. 1-1.
Santos and Veets are both guys who have pitched with significantly more confidence. You know, Veets locking down last inning, Santos over the last 2. Clear mentality change after a rough start.
Fastball inside, 2-1.
So it'll be interesting to see Santos, now that he has some adversity on the base paths, if he can continue pitching with that same confidence.
The 2-1 is ripped to third. Perez looks back the runner and fires across. And there's one away. With Santos now at 80 pitches, this will be interesting to see how long Coach Hernandez leaves him in. Still no bullpen activity for the Wildcats. As here's Sebastian Greco. Greco chops this one foul at home plate. Greco walked in the first, stranded on second, and struck out in the second. And has had some tough plays over at first with some wild throws over to him, especially by Hanchi. We have an error each on the catchers today. Ball bounced to the plate. Here comes the runner. Santos' tag is not in time. And the Rattlers have tied the game.
If Santos made his way to the plate just a little bit quicker, it was a nice feed from Braceras to even get down on that ball and get it to Santos. You may have seen it out there, but FAMU pushes one across.
Now the Rattlers use an error, a 3-base error at that, and a passed ball to score the run. And it's 4-4. And this one is hit high in the air on the infield. Olesen this time makes the call, makes the catch, 2 away to retire Greco. This time he would not be denied.
Even though Jeremy Garcia did certainly look like he could have taken that ball, Olsen calls him off.
And now here's Jan-Mikel Bastardo. Bastardo 0 for 2, a strikeout and a ground out back to the pitcher. 2 outs, nobody on, 1 in the inning already for the Rattlers. And that pitch is a ball, missed the zone. We've seen the slider starting in and breaking over to righties. That time a fastball right down Main Street for strike 1. And it has really fooled a lot of these Rattler hitters, especially the righties. Working quickly, the 1-1, strike 1 and 2. As there have been 3 strikeouts looking by the Rattlers today. One by Perini, One by Brown and one by Niels. Did he go? Yes, sir! And it's a strikeout by Bastardo to end the inning. No runs, or sorry, 1 run, no hits, none left. We go to the bottom of the 5th. It's a tie ball game at 4-4.
Leading off for the Wildcats at the bottom of the 5th, right fielder, number 4, Highland Hall.
Highland Hall's had a pretty good day at the plate through 2 at-bats. He's got a single, a run scored, and an RBI. And he faces Hunter Viets, who's back out there for the 5th. Breaking ball, strike catches the top of the zone, 0-1. Viets, we thought was set to come out after a rough 3rd inning where he surrendered 3 runs, but he got back to work and sat the Wildcats down 1-2-3 in the 4th. Hall swings and misses 0-2. And nobody is warming up in the Rattler bullpen, so I think we can kind of stop talking about all the pitch count limits on Viets that we were told before the game as he sits down Hall. That's his 3rd strikeout. The first person other than Brian Perez to strike out in the game for the Wildcats. And here's Boris Pena. Nobody's had a better day at the plate than Pena. 2 singles, 2 RBIs. And he was called out at home, almost had a run scored too in the previous inning. Breaking ball misses outside to the righty, 1-0. Pena swings and misses at a fastball inside, 1-1. Talk about a day for Pena, a guy who has been struggling over the past 10 days or so. This ball low, 2-1. Has seen his ERA dip below 300 when it was up in the 350s, 360s earlier in the season. Here's the 2-1. Pena fouls it off right at the plate. I think that caught the umpire again.
Taking a beating behind the plate tonight. Comes with the territory, I guess.
Count 2-2.
You know, Mike, I mentioned it between innings, the little break. The biggest analytics movement in baseball now is, for pitchers especially, is that 3rd time through the order. Well, the 3rd time through the order for Hunter Viets has been his best yet, as the Wildcats have really let the SWAC preseason pitcher of the year back into the ballgame, and he's looked just as sharp as he did to start tonight. Finding the zone, finding his spot, throwing hard, works with a great rhythm, getting it done.
Pena fouls it off and stays alive at 2-2. This is Viets' 7th appearance of the year. All starts. And he is listed on the FAMU website at 6-1, although that was just a result of those games that he pitched in. His actual win-loss record is 3-0. He's gone in the 7th inning twice, the 6th inning twice, the 5th once, and the 4th once. Pena fouls it off again, and it holds 3-2.
So much for the idea of a pitch count for Viets as he's approaching very regular numbers for a starter.
His highest output of the year was on the 10th of March when he threw 107 pitches in 6 1/3 against Florida Gulf Coast. Game the Rattlers won. This one hit softly to short, caught on a line by Niels, and there are 2 away. 4th put out for Niels in the ballgame. He's been busy over at shortstop, but he has not thrown under 80 pitches in a start this season. 81, 96, 90, 107. And then 2 games where the number of pitches he threw were not listed, but he threw 7 innings in both of those games. You got to think those numbers are up there. The 1-0, swing and a miss by Moya, and the count 1-1. Right now, Viets sitting at a cool 90 pitches. As we play here in the bottom of the 5th in a 4-4 game. Nobody on, 2 out. Moya check swing. It's a strike anyway, 1-2. The 1-2. And opposite batter's box, 2-2. Now, Zach Morea is back throwing in the Rattler bullpen. So we'll see if this is indeed the end for Viets. Moya, chop foul, he stays alive. The Wildcats in this inning, even though they have gone 2 up, 2 down, have worked pretty deep in counts. Hall struck out on 5 pitches. Pena, I believe, had 6 or 7 because he worked a full count with a couple of foul balls. And Moya doing the exact same. Now it's a full count.
You know, Mike, the top 3 in the SWAC's East Division, Bethune-Cookman, FAMU, and Alabama State, there's some great arms at the top of these rotations, some real workhorses on these Friday nights.
Chop foul back to the screen. Count holds 3-2. And even beyond those top 3 teams, there's starting pitching talent throughout the SWAC. We saw McClendon for Mississippi Valley State just absolutely dominate the Wildcats for 7 innings. And they went to the bullpen, and the Wildcats went to work. Ball 4 inside, Moya walks. And the innings extended, and here's George Braceras. That's a great at-bat by Moya.
That's how the Wildcats saw their success back in the 3rd, is making Hunter Viets work.
And as Viets creeps up to 100 pitches, he's 2 away from it. You got to think this will be his last inning.
I think if we're putting a pitch count at 100 pitches, maybe that's being, maybe we shouldn't call it a pitch count.
That's just a standard outing for a starting pitcher, and even probably more than that if you're talking about in professional baseball. They don't let their starters go maybe 70, 80 pitches. It's all about arm conservation and analytics. Some lazy swing and miss from Braceras, and the count quickly 0-2. But in college ball, when you don't have a lot of arms behind you, and especially when those arms may be of lesser quality, you got to ride your starters as far as you can. Viets upstairs 1-2.
Certainly looking at the way that Hunter Viets pitches and the way his body language is and the whole package, it wouldn't surprise me if he went up to his head coach between innings and told him, I feel great, let's keep it rolling.
We'll see. Here's the 1-2, swing and a miss, strikeout. Second of the inning for Viets as Braceras goes down. No runs, no hits, 1 left. We go to the 6th inning of play. Still a 4-4 ball game here at the Jack. Wildcat fans, BCU Track and Field is in town this weekend and wants your support. Come out and cheer on the Wildcats this Thursday through Saturday at the Embry-Riddle Spikes Classic right here in Daytona Beach. Check out bcuathletics.com and at BCUXCTF on Instagram for more information. To the 6th we go. Norland Santos back out there and gets a strike call. First pitch to Joseph Perini. Perini walked in the first and struck out in the third. And this fastball mixes upstairs 1-1. Both bullpens going now for both teams.
Which means we often see some strays drift over towards the plate from the bullpen.
Santos misses his spot, 2-1. We know it is Zach Maria in the pen for the Rattlers. Can't quite tell who that is for BCU down there the left field line. Pitch is fouled away and it's 2-2.
Looks like Dale Machad, who's kind of emerged as the go-to reliever to come out of the pen to open these weekend series.
2-2. Santos bounces it to the plate, 3-2. And Nolan can't get away from what has made him successful the last couple of innings, which is just going at hitters, throwing strikes.
You like to think he's not strikeout hunting, but when he begins to nibble and go for those swings and misses, it's gotten him in trouble in this one.
Well, this time he might be in trouble. It's high in the air to center, but thankfully not deep. That sounded good off the bat, but Garrett Chun takes it easily in center field, and there's one away.
Perini definitely got that under that one just a bit. With the wind blowing out, you'd think that one would have gotten a bit more help, but just a bit too much under it, a bit too high.
The wind's still migrating between left and center, blowing out. As here is Will Brown. Brown struck out in the first, grounded to third. In the third, takes a strike outside corner on the fastball, 0-1. Chopped foul, 0-2. Brown, a sophomore from Tallahassee, playing for his hometown squad on the highest of 7 hills. And the 0-2. Breaking ball, strike 3. Santos sits down his 6th of the game. Say that 10 times fast. And there are 2 away.
I think we've seen with both Santos and Viets tonight, just completely different pitchers working when there's nobody on base versus out of the stretch. Different level of confidence, a different pace to the plate.
Here's Hader Mota. First pitch strike, 0-1. Hermoda flew to the center in the second, struck out in the fourth. Line drive, base hit, right field. Hermoda's on with his first hit of the game, and there's a 2-out base runner for the Rattlers. And my previous tongue twister does not matter because he actually has 7 strikeouts, not 6.
Well, 7 strikeouts, Santa. I mean, it's still pretty close.
You're adding an extra syllable. It makes it not work as well.
Okay, well then try to say it 5 times fast, Mike.
Here's Jalen Neals. Singleton scored in the second on a RBI by Ty Jackson, then struck out looking to end the fourth. Two out. Runner on first. Here's the 1-0. Chop foul behind the plate. And it's 1-1. Did that clip home plate umpire Damian Gatling again? Might have.
Man's been a magnet tonight for some strays. Have some ice to do tonight when he gets home.
The pace from Santos has really slowed down now that there's a runner at first. Breaking ball swing and a miss. As Neals politely waves at it as it goes by. 1-2. Santos tried to get a swing. That's one I don't mind. When you're up 2-1 in the count, just try and get him to chase something. Now it's 2-2.
That's absolutely when you use a chase pitch. When you're up big in the count, try to get one, and then you really have to bear down and force them to make a play.
Strike 3! Santos misses his spot, but it doesn't matter because it catches the inside corner. Second strikeout looking on Niels of the game. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Wildcats try to break the deadlock of a 4-4 contest. New pitcher on the mound for the first time today. Gone is Hunter Veets. In is Zach Maria, making his 18th appearance of the season. He's 2-0 with a 7.9 ERA. In 26 and 2/3 innings pitched, he's given up 21 runs on 37 hits, all earned. Struck out 26 and walked 14, has given up 5 home runs, which is tied for the most on the team with Dallas Tees. And the first man to face him for the Wildcats is Jeremy Garcia. Garcia walked and reached third on an error in the second and then reached on an error in the third, so he does not have credit for a hit yet today, even though he's been on base twice. Here's a 1-0. He fouls this off down the left field line and onto the top of the clubhouse. Here's the 1-1 from Maria, bounced it to the plate. Maria, a senior, again from Tallahassee. Spent his entire career with the Rattlers, and before that was at Childs High School. This one lined sharply, but right to Perini at second. He fires to first, 1 away. I believe Childs High School is the Wolverines, something like that.
If you're looking for confirmation from me, you've come to the wrong place.
I'll look it up between innings. Here's Brian Perez, who is probably happy to see the back of Hunter Veets. He struck out twice in the game in his 2 plate appearances, trying to get something going for the Wildcats here with 1 away in the 6th. Mota deals. There's a strike 0-1. And hitting a sidearmer in modern day baseball is difficult, not because the angle is so different, but because you're not used to seeing it all that much. Here's the 1-1. I think I saw a stat the other day that said in the 80s and 90s, there were about about 20 sidearmers in the majors per season. Right now, on active Major League rosters, there are 3. And it's not something that's being taught a lot anymore. So, you know, you're not growing up, going through youth ball and high school ball, seeing pitches like that. So the count is 3-1. Hit high in the air down the right field line in foul territory. Moving over, and oh, the ball pops out of Greco's glove and is caught by Perini. Wow.
So we saw Perini rush over to try to call Greco off, to the point that he literally shoved Greco out of the way in an attempt to make the play. In all the confusion, the ball bounces out of his glove and into Greco's glove.
No, other way.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. It was Greco. It ball popped out of Greco's glove and into Perini's.
I really think that I had it the right way, but
okay,
I will believe you, because that's how crazy that play was.
We'll see what the live stats say. That might be one of the craziest things I've ever seen on a baseball diamond.
The play is officially credited as an out to first, so
okay,
Greco is given
Greco caught. That was wild. Big loping breaking ball misses inside to Tuero, and the count 1-1. I'm going to see that in my nightmares.
It's about the most aggressive call-off I've ever seen. It's certainly funny to watch Perini shove his first baseman out of the way.
That one is probably the hardest hit ball we've seen tonight. It 2 hops to the wall down the left field line. Going to second is Olesen, and he'll be there standing up.
Welcome back, Colton Olesen. Guy really is the lifeblood of this team. You see the fire of him pumping his fist when he makes it out to second base. A guy that's one of those locker room guys that's just annoyed that he can't be out there for whatever reason. So for the last 4 games or so, being limited with the injury. Guy who was itching to get back, and after a couple of good practices to end this week, back in, making an impact.
And here's Luis Tuero. Grounded out to short in the first, doubled and scored in the third, and grounded out to the catcher on a swinging bunt in the fourth. First pitch outside corner, strike 1. The Wildcats have reached base with 2 outs now 3 times in the game. And all 3 times, it has been their first base runner of the inning. In the first, in the 5th, and now in the 6th. Pitch way outside as Morea misses his spot, and it's 1-1. I mentioned, I think earlier, the Wildcats with 2 outs this season have been very feast or famine. Here's the 1-1. Breaking ball again, doesn't break, and it's 2-1. We've seen that exact same pitch now twice in a row.
And, you know, approaching the end of this half inning, Mike, we did see Nolan Santos come off the mound, kind of giving a signal to his guys in the dugout is one more, let's run it back. So we could very well see him come out, especially with no activity in that BCU bullpen.
The 2-1 outside, 3-1. And Tuero is talking up a storm there at the plate. He's talking back to the dugout. He's talking to the pitcher. Let's see if he gets into Morea's head now at 3-1. Outside ball 4. 4 straight in the opposite batter's box, and Tuero walks. And here is Garrett Chun.
After the great pitching we've seen to start this game, it's going to be an interesting chess match as both of these squads attempt to navigate through their bullpen. Both lineups swinging the bat pretty well, so someone is going to have to step up and hunker down for the rest of this game.
Chun, chopper to third. Stepping on the bag is Hermota to end the inning. No runs, 1 hit, 2 left. We go to the top of the 7th inning, and Nolan Santos is trotting back out. We'll see him after the break. This is Bethune-Cookman Baseball on the Cat Eye Network. Top of the order for Florida A&M to begin the 7th. Here's Ty Jackson, and the 4th time through the order now against Nolan Santos. He's out there with 102 pitches.
You'd have to imagine for him that means if you let a base runner on, you're probably getting the hook.
And he does. Second pitch sent right back where it came from by Jackson, his second hit of the game. And there's a runner aboard with no man out.
No movement from head coach Jonathan Hernandez, so Santos will keep it moving for now.
I'm going to look up what Santos's longest outing of the season is. I got to imagine this is close to it.
Did have the complete game last weekend.
Well, that was only 7
rule.
innings. As the Cats won 13-3. Spin it a throwback to first. Jackson dives in safely. Longest outing of the season for Santos was the victory against Longwood back on the 4th of March. Chopper towards second. Olesen slides, checks the runner at second, but eventually just takes the easy out at first. One away, Jackson advances. Good decision by Olesen to see that there was no play at second.
Really nice, smooth, sliding play by Olesen. Otherwise, very difficult bouncing ball through the hole there. The way the Rattlers are hitting the ball to start this inning, I'm surprised we still haven't seen any movement from Coach Hernandez to think about pulling Santos, but I guess he hasn't gotten himself in too much trouble just yet.
Here's Jared Weber. 2 singles, 2 stolen bases, but no runs scored. Has an RBI back in the first. Breaking ball strike catches the inside corner to Weber. So yeah, 104 pitches was Santos's previous longest outing of the year. It has now been eclipsed as he's got 105. And the 0-1 hit high in the air on the infield left side. Garcia, 3 steps on the outfield grass, makes the catch. And there are 2 away. And then 2 nice pieces of softish contact to get 2 quick outs there by the Wildcat infielders. So the play by Olesen was pretty good, ranging to his left. But then again, you expect a guy like Colton to make that play. Here's Greco, ball in the dirt, ball 1. Sebastian walked in the first, struck out of the second, fly to second in the 5th.
This will be big if Santos can finish off this inning. Then you can go to either Dale Machad in the 8th and Yohan Gonzalez in the 9th, or just go straight to Pokey to close the game out.
Well, that depends on if the Wildcats can push anything across in the 7th. And it was a lot of action early on, but since then it's been a pitcher's chess match, even with Morea coming in replace of Vince. He did pretty well to sit the Wildcats down in his first half inning of work. The 1-1. Swing and a miss, 1-2. As we are just under 2 hours into this ball game, hour and 58 minutes to be exact. Thank you for sticking with us on a Friday night here on the Cat Eye Network. Close call, but Greco did not swing. And the count, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs.
Wildcats still got looked about ready to explode after they thought they had the looking strikeout, or I guess the swinging strikeout. Ultimately called no swing. Have to save that celebration for hopefully this pitch.
2-2. Go ahead run on second. Santos from the stretch. This time he got him. Strikeout looking. Strikeout number 8 for Santos. And after a rocky first couple of innings. He really dialed it in, and if that's the end for Nolan, it was a very nice outing, and it gives the Wildcats a chance to win. We go to the bottom of the 7th in a 4-4 game here at the Jack, right here on the Cat Eye Network. Well, here's Highland Hall to lead off the 7th for the Cats. Base hit and a run scored in the first, had an RBI ground out in the 3rd, struck out in the 5th. This is his first time seeing Zach Maria. First pitch strike from the side armor. Maria threw 18 pitches in his first inning, only allowed 2 base runners. And the righty deals outside, and the count 1-1. He's been mostly pretty good, but then there was the one batter, Luis Tuero, where it just got away from him, and he threw 4 straight balls in the opposite batter's box. Hall was really keying in on that changeup, but he couldn't put it in play, 1-2.
After the fire we saw in that BCU dugout to end the Nolan Santos inning, it'll be interesting to see if that can translate into some appearances at the plate here. Certainly some energy over there for BCU.
This one got away from Maria and was barely snagged by Hanchi. And I have no anecdotal evidence on this, but I would think it would be really hard to catch a side armor as well. It's just you're not used to seeing the ball with that kind of rising motion.
Seeing the ball out of his hand is a different experience. The whole motion is just completely alien from what you're used to seeing.
It's closer to a softball-esque angle. Speaking of softball, the softball Cats won today in the first of a 3-game set with Alabama State. Chop foul, third base side out of play. Count holds 3-2.
8-3, the final score of that game with Bama State. Desiree Martinez coming through with a big 3-run home run, her 3rd of the year. The Wildcats took a critical series opening win. Got another one tomorrow, 1 p.m. Again on Sunday at 1 as well.
Ground ball to short. Niels once again fires across. His 5th put out of the game, and there's 1 away. He's been getting a lot of action over there at shortstop. And now here's Boris Pena. Pena singled in Hall in the first. Singled in a run in the 3rd, so he's got 2 hits, 2 RBIs, and almost scored in that inning as well, but he was caught out at home at the start of that really wild play with the error. First pitch to him, breaking ball strike. And then he lined out to short in the 5th. Here's the 0-1. Now, in complete opposite to Veets, Maria has almost no velocity at all. He's probably sitting there high 70s, low 80s. And Pena takes a strike on the inside corner. That was a pretty slider. But my point is that the Wildcats may be struggling to adjust.
I think that's part of the perks of seeing a side armor is just that harsh line between what they've seen to start the game and what they're getting now out of the pen.
Pena fouls it off. Count holds 1-2. This may be the most important home weekend on the diamond, both here at the Jack and at Sunnyland Park, as first place in the Eastern Conference on the line for both softball and baseball. That one in the opposite batter's box, 2-2. Pena stays alive.
Yeah, for both of these squads, baseball and softball, very likely seeing some future matchups come tournament time in a month or so.
Ooh, swing and a miss, and Pena goes down. First strikeout for Maria, and they're 2 away. Can you imagine a Bethune-Cookman Florida A&M SWAC title game?
Over there in Atlanta on the campus of Georgia Tech.
I'm looking forward to it.
I've seen enough animosity even last year at Bethune Point with the 2 crews out there supporting their squads. I think of what it would be like in a title game is a fun hypothetical.
It's kind of a shame to not play that in like Gainesville or Orlando, but yeah, we can't have everything.
Hopefully eventually the SWAC will allow some of these programs to host.
The SWAC does like their neutral site championship tournaments. Moya hammers this one a long way foul down the right field line. That went over the Budweiser bullpen and hit off the roof of the equipment shed. That's about 400 feet away from home plate.
The Robert Moya experience.
AAA battery.
Still cheesy.
Hey, I don't care. He is behind the count 0-2, though. This time he pops it up. Sounded good off the bat. The wind's going to carry it deep out to left, but it's put away by Brown. And 1, 2, 3, go the Cats. We go to the 8th inning in a 4-4 ball game. What do the Cats have out of the bullpen? We'll find out next, right here on the Cat Eye Network. Wildcat Nation, BCU softball is back at Sunnyland Park this weekend for a critical 3-game SWAC series against Alabama State. Come out and cheer for the Cats Friday at 3 p.m. or Saturday and Sunday at 1 p.m. Can't make it to the park? You can check out all the action live on the Cat-Eye Network. Bottom of the 8th we go, and the game now belongs to the bullpens as Dale Mashad strolls to the rubber for the first time today. His first pitch is batted foul by Jan-Mikel Bastardo, who is probably very grateful to see the back end of Nolan Santos. He's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a soft ground out back to the pitcher. And Mashad deals, waves at it 0-2. He's done that a couple times today, Bastardo.
Dale Mashad, a guy who led the Wildcats in ERA last season. He hasn't quite looked at that level to start this year, but clearly the setup man for the Wildcats.
Breaking ball misses inside. Here's Mashad's number. He's 2-0 in 10 appearances with a 3.57 ERA in 17 2/3 innings pitched. He's given up 7 runs on 17 hits, all earned, 16 strikeouts and 7 walks. Was the reliable middle innings guy for the Wildcats last year. He misses low, and it's 2-2. Bastardo chaps it foul, stays alive 2-2. Bastardo, the reigning SWAC hitter of the week. 8 runs, including 4 home runs and 10 RBIs during the series against Alabama A&M with a batting average of .545. And he hammers this one to left. That's a base hit. Bastardo on the board in this series. And he goes to second, and he's safe. Completely missed that as I was looking down to write the base hit into my scorecard. Got to erase it and put a double in there.
Well, like you, Mike, I kind of looked away as well onto my computer, assuming that was nothing more than a single, but I guess slow getting that one into second base, and he takes advantage.
And it looks like we're going to have a pinch runner, which we are. Pinch running for the Rattlers is Ben Kim, a freshman. And that's an interesting choice for the Rattlers because now they're going to lose Bastardo's bat.
Of course, I've been watching softball earlier this afternoon, working over at Sunnyland Park, and you don't get to re-enter here in baseball, so you're right, Mike. They do lose Bastardo's bat at the plate.
But they think that if they can score just one here, they could probably close it out. And I wouldn't blame them. The pitching has been very good for the Rattlers today. Time called by Braceras as he walks out to talk to Mashad. Cat-Eye Nation, you can catch all BCU home games live on the Cat-Eye Network. Be sure to tune in for the best of BCU baseball, softball, volleyball, basketball, and more throughout the season. You can catch it all live at youtube.com/Cat-Eye Network. Stay tuned for news about football as well, and where you can both watch and listen to the Wildcats this fall.
Hopefully, if all goes well, we'll have some version of the spring game on April 22nd available for you online. If you can't make it out to Daytona Municipal Stadium, be an interesting one for the Wildcats and new head coach Raymond Woody Jr.
They've got practice tomorrow.
Been practicing all week, just wrapped up their first week of practice. It's been a different kind of practice, just with the uneasy offseason the program has had, but credit to Coach Woody and his staff for just grinding it out, getting the guys organized, getting them going, and getting back to work. That's all you can do.
Here's Joseph Perini. 0 for 2 with a walk. Walked in the first, struck out in the third, popped out to center in the sixth. This time he hammers it out to center and deep. Back goes Chun. At the track, at the wall. It's over the batter's eye and gone. One pitch, and Joseph Perini gives the Rattlers a 2-1 lead. It's 6-4.
off the batter's eye in center field. We saw a similar ball hit by Boris Pena last weekend, but when you're hitting one out to that part of this ballpark, you got every bit of that pitch. Dale Machad let one drift out over the middle, and the Wildcats will pay for it.
Home run number 3 on the year by Perini. And the Wildcats have the lead. Or excuse me, the Rattlers have the lead. And now the Wildcats with a lot of work to do when they come to the plate in the 8th. But now they got to reset. Fresh inning. First pitch swing and a miss by Will Brown. Machad gets him to wave at one. That was the 3rd home run given up by Dale Machad on the year, and perhaps the one with most importance to the SWAC standings. The Rattlers are perfect in conference 6-0 with sweeps over Alabama A&M and Mississippi Valley State. Breaking ball strike inside corner 1-2. The Wildcats are 5-1 with a 2-1 series win over Alabama State and then a sweep of the Delta Devils. Big cut and miss, and down on strikes goes Brown. His 3rd strikeout of the day, first from Machad. And there's one away, and here's Hader Mota.
Elsewhere around the SWAC tonight, everybody in action. We had Alabama State took an 11-3 victory over Alabama A&M. Prairie View and Texas Southern, with TSU taking that one 8-4. Alcorn State and Southern started at 6 p.m. Central. Don't have a score for that one yet. Jackson State fell to Mississippi Valley State 14-13.
Wow, bit of a shocking result there, but we saw the Delta Devils here last week, and they are perfectly capable of taking some games off people.
Certainly not as down as their record might suggest. They have some bats and some pitching to get some stuff done.
The count is 2-1 on Hader Mota, who flied to center in the 2nd, struck out in the 4th, and then singled in the 6th. Strike on the outside corner, 2-2. Unfortunately, the Alcorn State Southern game is behind a paywall, so we can't look up a score for you. Outside corner, 3-2. Machad, who likes to wear his jersey with the top couple of buttons undone, stares down at Braceras to get the sign. 3-2. Moya stabs it at first, throws to Machad for the out.
Nice bit of communication from the Wildcats there. Impressive of Moya to knock that ball down. A quick ground ball over there. And, of course, Machad hustling over to first to make the play.
Now 2 down. Here's the 9-hole hitter, Jalen Niles. Singled and scored in the 2nd, and then has struck out looking in the 4th and 6th. Although both of those against Santos, he squares to bunt and takes a strike. With 2 outs, nobody on. Not really sure how serious that bunt attempt was. That one a slider missing outside. 1-1. After this, a 18-game road trip for Bethune-Cookman. Count 1 and 2, including SWAC series at Alabama A&M, Mississippi Valley State, Alabama State, and Jackson State. The 1-2 swing and a miss on another slider as Niles goes down swinging for the 3rd time today. 2 runs, 2 hits, none left, and it's time for the Cardiac Cats if the Wildcats want to get back into this one. It's 6-4 going to the bottom of the 8th. George Braceras leads off the 8th for the Wildcats, who are now down 6-4 with just 6 outs to work with. It's not like they've had their chances. They've hit the ball 7 times, forced 2 Rattlers errors, and have left 7 on base. And Braceras hits this one to right. Going back, Weber, he stands under it, makes the catch, 1 away.
Ball was well hit, but just not quite hard enough.
Funnily enough, with the Wildcats having so much success swinging early in counts this season, the one inning that they did have the most success, where they scored 3 runs, was the inning where they started to be patient, work on the pitcher, drive deep in counts. Fastball down the middle, strike 1 to Garcia. Garcia walked in the 2nd, reached 3rd on an error, and then reached on an error in the 3rd, grounded out to 2nd base in the 6th. And the 0-1, strike outside corner, 0-2.
You know, Mike, I think this game really changed with Hunter Veets' 4th inning. When he came back out and showed that he could dial it back in, figure out his approach for the night, and throw strikes, it changed the night. The Wildcats couldn't get to the bullpen as quickly. You know, Veets worked another 2 innings, settled everything down, gave the Rattlers a confidence boost. Wildcats' bats went a little stale.
A little stale. They've only had 1 hit and 3 base runners since.
So for Veets to be able to come back out and gut through 2 more, not just gut through them, but be really solid for the Rattlers, change the outlook for the Wildcats tonight.
Here's the 2-2. Chop foul, count holds. I mentioned right before the end of the last inning, the Wildcats are about to embark on a mammoth road trip. 18 games, including 3 game sets at Alabama A&M, Mississippi Valley State, and a crucial one at Alabama State. But sandwiched in the middle there are a couple of non-conference games. Their only matchup of the season with the Florida Gators on April 4th. That's Tuesday next. And then rematches against South Florida and Jacksonville, with a game against Miami in there as well. Oh, strike 3 called by the 3rd base umpire, Kendron Wright. Garcia thought it was ball 4. He walked down to 1st, and then he was punched out on the check swing.
It's a tough swing call. I'm not sure it was really even close to breaking the plane.
The first 2 batters in the inning go down for the Wildcats again, and here's Brian Perez, 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a pop-out. This one hit in the air to center field, not deep. Jackson only has to move in about 3 steps to make the catch and end the inning. 1, 2, 3 go the Cats, and we head to the 9th inning. Rattlers have a 6-4 lead here from Jackie Robinson Ballpark. Top of the ninth we go. Top of the order for the Rattlers. They have a 2-run lead, 6-4, off the 2-run bomb to center field by Joseph Perini. Dale Michaud back in for the ninth. Jackson squares to bunt. The pitch misses inside, 1-0. For Florida A&M, after today, they'll have a midweek game up in Macon, Georgia against Mercer. Fastball misses low, 2-0. And then at Jackson State, at Alabama A&M. So they are also on a 2-week-plus road trip as the Florida schools go a-hunting in the SWAC.
You know, Jackson has one of the most elaborate pitch-to-pitch routines that I think I've seen. A lot of moving parts, a lot of steps to it.
You mean Michaud? Or
no, I meant Jackson. He stepped out of the box every time, draws a cross in the dirt, picks up some dirt, rubs it on his hand, sticks his bat in between his arm, pats his hands together, steps back in, taps the plate a few times, then digs back in.
That'll work. You drew a walk. It's one of those things where under the new Major League rules he wouldn't be allowed to do.
Oh, I will say he was pretty quick at that routine, getting back to the box. Definitely a sense of urgency. I think he'd still manage to beat out those rules.
But you can't step out of the box.
True.
Which is the thing that a lot of hitters were not happy about when it was introduced. You have to keep 1 foot in the box at all times. You're allowed 1 timeout per at-bat where you can leave. First pitch, a strike to Ty Hatchley. It should be Hanchy. And the second pitch is in the dirt, ball 1. Hanchy has scored 2 runs today. Singled and scored in the first on the Weber RBI. Grounded out to first in the second. Reached on an error and scored on a passed ball in the 5th. So make of that what you will. And then grounded out to the shortstop in the 7th. Here's a soft ground to the 3rd. Perez charges, fires in time, 1 away, and Jackson advances to 2nd. As the umpires call for time to see if somebody was hurt, but it looks like everybody's all right. And the exact same thing happened the last time Jackson and Hanchley were up. Jackson single, Hanchley sacrifice, grounded him over. Here's Jared Weber. 2 singles in the ball game and 2 stolen bases, both in the first 2 innings. After that, he's grounded out to 3rd and flied out to the shortstop. First pitch to him inside. Weber, a senior from Wauchula, Florida. And he fouls 1 away, and it's 1-1. Played in 30 games. A .413 batting average last year did Weber. And was named to the SWAC All-Tournament team. Michaud now working a bit slower out of the stretch. Here's the 1-1. Fastball strike down the middle, 1-2. Weber has played his entire career at Florida A&M after graduating Wauchula High School. One-two breaking ball hit high in the air, foul territory, first base side. Moya lost it in the wind and can't make the play.
Always a tough play out there in foul territory between the lights and the wind that always swirls a little bit out here. Can't blame him for not making that one.
Weber this season batting .302. I mentioned earlier he's got the highest number of at-bats on the team this season, although he hasn't played the most number of games. That belongs to Ty Jackson, who's played in all 25. Inside 2-2. Weber leads the team in home runs with 7. And is tied for second in RBIs with 26. He's got Ty Jackson on second with 1 down. Here's the pitch. And he hits this one again. High in the air, foul territory, right-hand side. This one is caught by Moya. Oh, my. It was a reaching catch behind his head in foul territory against the nets. Weber is retired. Jackson does tag up and go to third. And there are 2 away.
Redemption there for Moya. Had to clear out the FAMU dugout. Handful of guys standing over there. Makes the play.
Off the bat, that looked like it was going to go well out of play, but the wind held it in. Wind once again whipping out to left center.
Every now and then Moya flashes some serious agility that you may not expect just based on his build, but some plays at first, knocking down some ground balls, and of course those plays in foul territory.
Here's Greco, ball low and outside, 1-0. Walked in the first, did Sebastian Greco. Struck out in the second. Flied to short in the 5th and struck out in the 7th. Of course, all those stats against Nolan Santos. Inside, Braceras dives to his right to keep it from heading to the backstop. 2-0. Greco swings and misses. And the count 2-1. He took a big hack at that one. The transfer from Eastern Kentucky, so a D1 transfer. Sebastian Greco. Inside corner, strike 2. Michaud's got some bite on the fastball.
9-1-2. Due up for the Wildcats in the 9th. Colton Olson always done a great job this year of being that table setter out of the 9 spot when called upon.
2-2, 2 outs. Line foul, first base side. We'll do it again.
Of course, the Wildcats will need to put something big together to push 2 or maybe 3 across for the win. Wildcats have a couple of walk-off wins this season. 2 in the opening series.
That was against
both from Colton Olson.
That was against Lehigh after dropping the opening game of the season. So that was a very exciting series. In the dirt, the count runs full. Nobody warming up in the Rattler bullpen, so we're going to think that Zach Maria will come on for his 4th inning of work to try and close it out. Chop, foul again, 3-2. Seventh pitch of the at-bat just passed. This will be number 8. Michaud shakes off a couple of pitches. And now the righty winds and fires. He missed his spot. And it's the second walk of the inning. Greco aboard for the second time today via the free pass. Greco now 0 for 3 with 2 walks. And now, it would have been Jan-Mikel Bastardo, but since he was replaced on the base paths, we're going to have Ben Kim, the sophomore from Tampa, bat in his place. Kim, 15 appearances, 1 start on the season, 19 at-bats, 2 runs, 6 hits, no homers, 6 RBIs. With 2 outs and the runners on the corners, he bunts this one foul back to the screen, 1-1. Kim, utilized off the bench by the Rattlers, a graduate of Robinson High School over there in Tampa. A center fielder by trade, but he's taking the DH spot away from Bastardo. Braceras Comes up ready to throw, but nobody is challenging him on the base paths. Count 2-1.
If you're George Braceras, I think it's been a pretty solid night for him. It hasn't looked especially off either defensively or at the plate. Not really limited by the injury.
Strike outside corner. Really late call from Gatling. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. And a 2-run lead for the Rattlers. Runner goes. They've caught they've caught Gecko in a rundown. He's out, but the run scores. Really nice small ball there by the Rattlers to push an insurance run across. Gecko is caught stealing to end the inning. If we do go to a 10th, Kim will lead off. But we head to the bottom of the 9th, and the Wildcats have a lot of work to do. They're down by 3. Bottom of the 9th we go. It is 7-4. Florida A&M, as they are 3 outs away from claiming a massive series opening win here at the Jack. And starting conference play 7-0. Colton Olison leads off from the 9-hole spot. First pitch takes a strike inside corner. It's still Maria out there. He sat down 6 straight Wildcats and has only allowed 1 hit and 3 total base runners in his 4 innings of work. That one outside, 1-1. Olison grounded to first in the 2nd, grounded to the pitcher in the 4th, and cracked a double in the 6th, but unfortunately was caught at 3rd. That one hit in the air to right. It's going to get down for a hit and head to the wall. Weber fires in. Olison with his 2nd stand-up double of the day to lead off the 9th.
Certainly wouldn't know it if you looked at him that he's missed the last handful of games. But like we said, there's no better table setter in this conference out of that 9 spot than Colton Olison. A ringing double.
And outside that one error in the top of the 1st, where he kind of got crossed up with Robert Moy about who was going to make the catch, he's played pretty flawlessly, both defensively and offensively, as Colton Olison. He's put the ball in play every time.
This will forever be a pro Colton Olison booth, long as I'm in it.
We do have some movement in the Rattler pen. I believe that is Grant Harrison warming up, and we'll see if the coaching staff for the Rattlers can stall long enough to get him in, or are they going to stand by Maria? Jeremy Shoup, in his 10th season at the helm of Florida A&M, out there to talk to his infield. He will take a leisurely stroll back to the dugout. He's assisted by Brett Richardson and Todd Alford. They've done a fantastic job. As I mentioned earlier, 2 MEAC titles under his reign, and looking for their first SWAC title, and from what I've seen so far tonight, they are certainly capable of being the #1 team in this conference.
1 through 3 is going to be an absolute dogfight in the SWAC East.
Strike outside corner, first pitch to Luis Chuero. Chuero 1 for 3 with a walk, doubled and scored in the third, and has grounded out the other 2 times. Wildcats need 3 runs to even stay alive in this game, down 7-4. And Chuero smacks this one foul into the bleachers down the left field line, 0-2. The Rattlers bullpen only has 3 saves this season. Zach Maria has 1, Grant Harrison has 1, and Cameron Kelly has 1. This one lined into left field, but right on the money to make the catch is Brown, and there's 1 away.
It's a really nice read by Will Brown to track that ball down right off the head of the bat, tracked it down. If he makes 1 wrong step, that one's dropping in there, and that's big trouble for the Rattlers, but he tracks it down.
Here's Garrett Chun. Grounded to short in the first, singled in singled in the third and scored. Grounded out to second in the fourth and reached on a fielder's choice at the 6th. That one way outside, and scrambling for it like a hockey goalie is Hanchy. Even with a 3-run buffer, you don't want to be careless here if you're Florida A&M.
It's the kind of play Hanchy would never get credit for in a box score or hardly anywhere else, but save the runner moving to third.
Strike outside corner. That outside corner has been there for both sides tonight from the home plate umpire, Damian Gatling. Maria steps off. Was very uncomfortable. I think his coach told him to step off. You could hear him yelling. Now he stands back in. And the side armor deals. 1-1 low, 2-1. We'll be back at it tomorrow, right here at the Jack at 6 p.m. Unfortunately, no commentary from Bryce and I, but you can watch the game on the Cat Eye Network. Sunday, I will be here for the series wrap-up. Daryl Natil will do his typical Sunday thing and stroll into the booth with me. 3-1 count on Chun. This one hit in the air to center, not deep. Moving to his left is Jackson. He reaches up and makes the catch, falling over. What a great play. Tagging and going to third is Olison, but there are 2 away. The Wildcats down to their last out.
It's 2 impressive defensive plays from FAMU to really sit on this lead and ensure the Wildcats don't make any noise here. We saw the first play out to the left that Will Brown tracked down, and then another great play there by Ty Jackson to really shut the door, or at least get them 2 outs closer to doing so.
How many times this season have we seen a ball hit like that out to center and the center fielder just can't track it down? Both the Wildcats and their opponents have been victims of that. And the alleys here at Jackie Robinson are very wide. First pitch, ball outside of Highland Hall. Well, if you want anybody at the plate, 2 outs, game on the line, it might be Highland Hall. With a .354 batting average and 7 doubles on the season. Second pitch is also a ball. They've got Pena and Moya behind him if they can get there. Ball low, 3-0. So Morea, has been very good, but sometimes he has these batters where he just completely shuts off and can't find the zone. We saw it on the walk to Chuero in the 6th inning. That time right down the middle. Hall wanted none of it. It's 3-1.
Interesting to see here if Hall can manage to get on base, if that may be the last we see of Maria.
Maria deals. Swung on, hit sharply to the shortstop, and it gets through Niels. Scoring is Olesen, and it's an RBI for Highland Hall. The Wildcats stay alive, and it's 7-5.
I'd imagine that'll be scored a base hit. We'll know in a second.
I believe it will.
Just based on the, and it is scored a single, just based on the speed of that ball. But I really think right there, maybe Niles tried to make a little too much out of the play. If he doesn't go to dive for it, I think he can more easily make that play.
Yep, and that's the first mistake Niles has made all game. He's been perfect so far, with 5 putouts so far in the game for him.
Again, I don't think that's enough to credit him with an error, but certainly a what-if this game decides to go south for FAMU.
Well, we are going to see the third pitcher of the game as Maria departs after pitching 3 2/3 innings, and we are going to see Grant Harrison. You can catch all BCU home games live on the Cat Eye Network. Be sure to tune in for all the best of BCU baseball, softball, volleyball, basketball, and more throughout the season. You can catch it all live at youtube.com/Cat Eye Network. Here's the numbers on Grant Harrison. He is 1-2 in 9 appearances with 2 starts and a save. Talk about a 5-tool pitcher. He's got a .924 ERA in 12 2 innings pitched. 16 runs on 12 hits, 13 earned. 20 strikeouts and 19 walks. And he is the player that Florida A&M believes can get them over the line here in the 9th inning. This is an interesting move by FAMU.
I think it probably is for the best if you're the Rattlers, especially with the way Maria was throwing the ball and of course the soft throwing of a side armor with the Wildcats' 2 biggest power bats due up in the order in Boris Pena and Robert Moya. You hate to give them one that floats too far over the middle and cracks this one even.
Well, we almost saw it happen with Moya twice in the previous inning. Well, that was the 7th, not the 8th, but their previous at-bats. And now here's Boris Pena, 2 down. He represents potentially the tying run. And Harrison, man, he has got some pop in that arm. It's outside for a ball, but it's a completely different look than you see with Maria. Fastball, inside corner, strike 1.
Like we just mentioned, at the very least now, if he leaves one over the middle, it's up to Pena, Moya, or the rest of the Wildcats to catch up to it and really put a good swing on the ball.
Grant Harrison, a junior from Tallahassee. Strike outside corner, Wildcats down to their last strike. He's a transfer from Tallahassee Community College, and he's 1 strike away from giving the Rattlers a series opening win. All at first, Pena at the plate. Here's the pitch. Swung on, fouled away, we'll do it again. Harrison this season, his 2 starts were, oh, I'm not going to get to talk about it. Strike 3, ball game over. Rattlers take this one 7-5 on the 2-run homer in the 8th by Joseph Perini.
Yeah, you know, Mike, it's unfortunate that the Wildcats come out on the wrong end of the final score here because it really was a great baseball game. Well played on both sides for the most part. We saw 10 hits for FAMU, 9 for the Wildcats. An entertaining game, a lot of back and forth, but if you're the Wildcats, it kind of came down to one swing tonight, the Perini homer back in the 8th. Dale Mashad just left one down the middle, and the Wildcats paid for it, and they come up short here tonight.
The Rattlers move back to 500, 13-13. They go 7-0 in conference play. The Wildcats now 14-12 and 5-2 in conference, and they will slip to third place in the SWAC East after the win today by Alabama A&M.
Critical game tomorrow, of course, with Marcos Gamboa making his first weekend start. It'll be really important for the Wildcats to not let this loss get in their heads. You really have to get back to work, especially at the plate. You know, there's plenty of positives to take away from tonight. 9 hits, did score 5 runs, did have a 3-run inning against arguably the best pitcher in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Just need to continue that momentum at the plate and take advantage when you get your chances. You know, the Wildcats left 8 on base tonight. It's haunted them a lot this season, but you can't let that get to you. You have to put that behind and keep moving forward. This is a SWAC East race that's going to come down to some of the last weekends of the year. You know, we'll see FAMU again. They'll see Alabama State again, but you can't let these early SWAC play games slip away.
Final line score for Bethune-Cookman, 5 runs on 9 hits, 2 errors. They left 8 on base. And for Florida A&M, 7 runs on 10 hits, 2 errors, and they left 6. Time of the ball game, 2 hours, 53 minutes. We get out of here in under 3. And we will see you tomorrow. No commentary on the broadcast tomorrow, but you can watch the game on the Cat Eye Network Sunday, 1 o'clock for the series finale, and with full presentation and commentary for you as well. For Bryce Wojnowski and our entire Cat Eye Network crew here at Jackie Robinson Ballpark, my name is Michael Turillo, saying so long and have a very pleasant good evening, and hail Wildcats.